Today is a very special episode of SportsLine. In an unprecedented, never done before, completely venturing into uncharted waters move, we're talking about nothing but basketball. Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Tyler Small. Valentine's Day is this Sunday, so you know what that means. Another poem by yours truly. Roses are red, sports got canceled and we're sad. Don't double text her or else you'll be down bad. You're watching LaSalle TV's home for Explorer Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. We have all of your latest basketball recaps, and women's basketball guard Molly Massantonio gives us some insight on the women's basketball season so far.
And later, SportsLine's very own Jamie Smith gives us a rundown of what to expect from the women's soccer matchup against Villanova this weekend.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1. Another familiar face has returned to the pool deck for LaSalle swimming and diving team as Billy Gordon was named the assistant coach on Friday, according to interim head coach Sabana Malian. Gordon was previously a graduate assistant for the Explorers from 2018 to 2020. While coaching the Blue and Gold, Gordon was given the key responsibilities under former head coach James Platt. He frequently led practices, worked extensively with training groups, assisted with recruitment efforts, and helped drive the social media engagement. He graduated in 2020 with a master's degree in education and taught statistics at Unionville High School. Gordon said he was ready to get to work when the team, and he said he knows, quote, "I am thrilled to be back at 20th and Olney and can't wait to get back at Kirk Pool."
Number 2. The LaSalle women's basketball team has announced a Jared Box drive to benefit the Shriners Hospitals for Children during the week of February 15th through February 20th. LaSalle will be collecting an abundance of items to create Jared Boxes. The Jared Box project's goal is to lift the spirits of children in the hospital. Boxes are filled with the gift of play are given to young patients in emergency rooms, hospital rooms, surgical centers, and clinics. During the drive, a drop box will be placed in the lobby of the Trumark Financial Center from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Donations will also be accepted via mail and can be sent to LaSalle University.
And number 3, the LaSalle University field hockey team was picked to finish 6th place in the Atlantic 10 preseason field hockey poll. It was announced on Tuesday. The Explorers, under the first-year coach, Michaela Hancock, garnered 21 victories and tied with Davidson among league foes. Reigning champion St. Joseph's garnered first place. There were 6 first-place votes, and the preseason favorite, with Richmond and UMass selected second and third. LaSalle returned 5 stars from last season's team, including senior Riley Allen. Allen started in all 18 games for the Explorers last season, leading the team in goals with 7 and ranking second in points with 18. So a lot of good things to talk about for the Explorers, but it's all in terms of returning.
Yes.
We have Billy Gordon coming back, who has had an extensive amount of history with the swimming and diving teams, looking to capitalize on their final season. And the field hockey season, just one of the many seasons we are excited to return.
Exactly, and same goes with men's soccer. They've ranked pretty well in these polls, especially when last season they've been underdogs, not projected to do well, but these votes really prove that the teams are improving and we have a lot to look forward to this spring season.
Absolutely, and we have all of them coming up. The only problem that we really have to worry about here is if the snow can finally get off the fields.
That'd be so nice. Don't have to dig them out anymore, because I've seen teams just having to dig up their fields just to practice.
Yeah, that's been the unfortunate truth for us so far. Thankfully, we didn't get hit too hard today, but
yeah,
we'll see what will come. But this weekend, we are going to be unveiling one of the 2 fields so far. It's going to be. We're going to talk more about that when Jamie hops on, but we'll see until then. So that does it for this week's edition of Top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. For our first sport today, we're going to talk about the women's basketball team. And the women's basketball team started this week in a matchup against St. Louis at home. LaSalle ended the first quarter with a 19-16 lead, but the Billigans quickly stormed back and took a 39-35 lead at the half. The Blue and Gold saved themselves from playing from behind for the rest of the game, despite having 4 Explorers score in the double digits. Claire Jacobs led the comeback attempt with 17 points, with Deja King right behind her at 15. Meanwhile, Kayla Sproul and Molly Massantonio chipped in 13 and 12 respectively. LaSalle was able to cut into the lead, bringing down 3 right before the triple from Claire Jacobs tied it at 61. Unfortunately, St. Louis would score 5 of the next 7 and seal the deal, with the layup ending the game with a score of 72-65.
The Explorers then looked to bounce back with the game against Dayton, but got off to a rough start, only scoring 9 points in the opening quarter. They finally woke up in the second, outscoring the Flyers 25-21 to make the score going into the half 47-34. The Flyers would continue to dominate the game, outscoring LaSalle by 10 points in the third. Both teams traded baskets to start the final period, but Dayton kept the advantage with a score of 84-61. With only a few minutes left, Dayton went on a 9-5 run, ending the game with a score of 95-66.
Men's basketball traveled to the Bronx to take on Fordham on Saturday night. The game was tied early at 6 as Christian Ray started his career night with a layup, before putting the Explorers ahead with a 3. LaSalle found themselves up by 1 before the Rams went on a 12-2 run going into the media timeout to go up 28-19. The Blue and Gold started the second half down 37-24. Ray scored 5 straight points to open up the scoring for LaSalle, cutting into the lead to 10. The Rams were able to extend their lead once, but Sharif Kenny hit a pair of threes to cut it to 11, down to 6. Once again, Fordham got back to a 10-point lead before the Explorers cut it down to 5 at a 60-55 game. LaSalle made a comeback attempt with under a minute left, but couldn't finish it, ending with a final score of 76-68. Despite the loss, Christian Ray ended with a near double-double with a career-high 18 points and 9 rebounds.
Later on the road trip, the Explorers headed down to Allegheny, New York to face off against St. Bonaventure. The Blue and Gold jumped out to a strong start as they led 22-13 at the midway point of the first half. The Bonnies would score the next 9 points to tie it at 22 apiece, and then the game started to slip out of LaSalle's grasp. After being outscored 32-13 going into the half, Sharif Kenny would look to put the Explorers on his back and mount a comeback. Kenny, Vitti, and Jameer Burkus would hit consecutive threes with 2 minutes remaining to make it a 10-point game, but it would be too little too late as LaSalle lost this one 86-73. Kenny led all scorers with a career-high performance of 22 points.
Obviously a very disappointing week this week.
Yeah.
0-4 on the week is never a good thing. A lot of good to take away from it, but let's start with the bad. I mean, on the men's side, you get 2 career performances from young guys that are going to be the future of your team if you build around them properly. Kenny and Ray putting up career numbers and unfortunately not getting the result they played for.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing when you have those outstanding individual performances, but you don't have the score line to reflect that, because then the loss kind of takes away from that guy's career night. But it's still extremely promising to have that individual performance, because, you have that other, players can build around that, and hopefully the team can get back to winning ways.
Winning ways, of course, and it just kind of comes with living and dying by the 3. And the women's side is the same way, but we will see what comes up for them in the upcoming weeks.
Better luck next week.
That's it for recaps, but when we come back, the long-range sniper for the Explorers, Molly Massantonio, hops on Zoom to join us. Stay tuned.
Yo, bro, what's good?
What's going on?
How you feeling, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
When'd you start smoking?
Smoking? It's a Juul, bro.
It's a Juul?
Yeah.
Listen, you might as well be smoking cigarettes. When you start juuling or vaping, you're 4 times more likely to start smoking cigarettes.
Is that true?
That's very true. Give me the Juul. You don't need it.
To learn more about e-cigarettes, go to thetruth.com.
According to the Mayo Clinic, exercising has stress-busting benefits by bumping up your endorphins and improving your mood.
Welcome back. We got a chance to sit down with women's basketball guard Molly Massantonio to go more in depth on the women's season so far.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of On the Sideline. Today we are joined by the junior guard for the Explorers, Molly Massantonio. Molly, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So you transferred to LaSalle from Holy Family during the 2019-2020 season, and we just want to know what made you decide to come here out of all the schools that you probably had knocking down your door?
So I am a local. I live right outside of Philadelphia, and I went to Holy Family my freshman year. And when I decided to enter the transfer portal, I had some schools, but I knew that since LaSalle was so close and was in the Philly area, that I wanted to go there because I love the environment, I love the coaches, and I just wanted to stay close to home also because growing up, I would go to all their games, like all the Big Five school games. So it was like a perfect choice for me to choose LaSalle.
Great. So talking about some of that background experience, you played at Archbishop Carroll and were a decorated basketball player there, obviously, 4-year letter winner, but also you played 3 years of volleyball. And I thought that was kind of interesting because you don't always see volleyball and basketball because they're usually played at the same time span. So talk about what that was like and how much that actually has affected your basketball skills.
So volleyball, I always played that growing up also. Luckily it was in 2 different seasons. Volleyball's in the fall and basketball's in the winter, but sometimes it would overlap where I would have to skip some volleyball or basketball workouts, like the optional ones for volleyball because I made a commitment. Mm-hmm. But it was more of like a fun aspect, and it kind of helped me to like jump higher and like develop like eye-hand coordination and stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was really fun.
And you had a really outstanding freshman year. You led your team in points, rebounds, steals, and blocks. So since that was just your first year of collegiate basketball, what did that do for your confidence as a player moving forward?
It really did build my confidence a lot because going from high school to college, you think there's like this huge transition and stuff. So I was kind of nervous my freshman year, like I'm not going to be strong enough, I'm not going to be tall enough. But I just built my strength, built my skills, and just played my best on the court. And luckily it gave me my numbers how they were my freshman year.
And then jumping from freshman year to coming to the A10 play, talk about what that difference was like in the play style of the CACC versus the Atlantic 10, or just the strength of schedule between the two. Was that another leap for you, or was that kind of the same level?
Yeah, so it was definitely a bigger leap actually, because from Division II to Division I, the biggest thing is like strength. Everyone's taller. Their skill set is better. So I just had to work hard all summer to try to get that up. And luckily I got used to it and got better in the swing of things and stuff. But that was like the main thing, was like everyone was bigger, stronger, more athletic. So it was a big adjustment, but I'm comfortable now.
Yeah, and your D1 debut against Monmouth was a really big night for you. You dropped 14 points. But, whenever we're researching women's basketball, we always see your name pop up in, contributions, whether it be points, rebounds, anything like that. So because you always contribute so much to a game, does that add any pressure to you when you're trying to prepare?
Not really, because I want to help my team no matter what it is. It doesn't have to be points. It doesn't have to be anything. I just want to have the best game so we can win. So I try not to have any pressure when I go out and play, because if I have pressure, then I won't play my best. So I just try to contribute as much as I can to the court, and hopefully we win.
Yeah. And one of the top ways that you do contribute to this team is being like the team sharpshooter. So you have the second highest 3-point attempts on the season, just behind Claire Jacobs, but you have the highest 3-point attempts compared to your overall field goal attempts. So talk about what that mindset is like, kind of coming into a game like Monmouth, dropping 14 points, or like George Washington, where you went 3 for 5 from the outside. Like, do you just come in feeling a different way, or is it just you just have the hot hand that night?
It's really, for me, it's basically confidence. Like, I have my form set, I have everything set, like nothing will change as I'm shooting, but it's more of I have to be ready to catch, ready to shoot, be confident when I shoot. And when I have confidence, usually I have a better night of shooting. Mm-hmm. So it's mainly about confidence. Yep.
We can talk about numbers and stats all day long, and Tyler definitely would if he could. But from a more stylistic perspective, what is, a personal goal for you on how you play, improving your play, just things like that?
My biggest goal is to get stronger and I want to get more rebounds and stuff and be like more aggressive on the court because our team, we don't have height, obviously, you can tell. So that was like the biggest thing coming into this year as a group. We needed to rebound more, and I am a guard, but I want to get more rebounds and contribute, being more aggressive and being a better defender.
That's a coach's dream answer, I think, because whenever you watch a LaSalle women's game, it's always a lot of those gritty floorboards. It's a lot of the long rebounds going your way. So that's great to hear. Another thing about that, kind of going towards more like the team aspect now, this season, you guys are 4-4 on the road, and of those 4 wins, 3 of them have come within single-digit margins. So talk about what that team mindset is like, winning those gritty games on the road and getting the close victories.
So it's really fun to win that way and stuff because we work so hard all year and teams are bigger than us. And if we play together as a team and rebound and do what we can really beat anyone, in my opinion. That's why the games are all mostly close. The ones that we won, we just wanted it more and we put the ball in the basket and did everything we could to win.
So speaking of big wins that you've had, the St. Joe's victory is obviously the standout one so far. Can you just talk us through how you were feeling, how the team was feeling, and what that win did for you guys?
It was really nice because since we had a really rough game the first time, we knew they're a city rival, so we wanted to get them back at our home place. So the win felt really good, and I think that was like the best team play we have ever had. We all just wanted it. So yeah, it was really awesome to win a second time against them.
And just looking a little bit towards the future now, you have a couple more games to wrap up the regular season. At this point, about 20 games into the season, it's your best start since 2016, where the team got the first round win in the Atlantic 10 playoffs. So talk about, is that mindset sort of changing looking towards the future? Is it still important to get these next couple of games together? What has been the overall team mindset?
The team mindset is basically our games are Fridays and Saturdays now, so we can't look in the past. We can't look really in the future, just the next game. We focus on our next game, our next win, try to improve on the stuff we need to improve on, and hopefully if we keep improving, we can have a successful rest of the year.
Yeah, and obviously it's been a very difficult, very unpredictable season, and the mental toll that it's got to take on you as a student athlete. I mean, I can't even imagine that, but how do you keep up your motivation and just that desire to keep going and keep doing your best, even when circumstances are really iffy as they've been recently?
I look at it as we got this opportunity to be on campus. We got this opportunity to have a season. So put your best foot forward, and you can't worry about what's happening in the world because you have no control over it. So the only thing you can control is where you are in the moment, and we're lucky enough to have a season. So it's been difficult in times because of all the stress and stuff, but you just have to keep a positive mindset and just keep moving forward.
All right, last question that I have. It's going to go a little bit away from basketball now. You're from the Philadelphia area. My beloved Angelo's Pizzeria just closed down right down in Center City, and I am in desperate need of a new food place or local area that I could go to. What do you think is the go-to spot?
Oh, that's a hard question. Like more like Italian like?
Yeah, sure, to kind of fill that void in my heart. Yeah.
Let's see. See, I don't really eat. See, I usually go to Olive Garden, and that's not like Philly like, so it's kind of hard.
That's still a good answer.
Yeah, I like D'Alessandro steaks.
Okay.
And I go to Chinatown a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They have good food places there.
Okay, great answer. Great answer.
All
right, so I think that's going to wrap it up this week. Molly, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
We're going to take one more break, but when we come back, Junior producer Jamie Smith joins us to give us the upcoming game of the week and the outlook for that game in this week's Explorer Report.
This is Kevin, and Kevin could use some kindness. Here's Ian. He could be that man. Ian chooses to be inconsiderate and not hold the door for Kevin, and in turn, Kevin suffers. Kindness may be a choice, but doing so is always the right one. So if Ian can make the right choice, you can too.
Welcome back. As you can tell, the Explorers fandom cannot wait for the extreme spring sporting season to begin. We are so impatient that we actually moved women's soccer's opening day up to this Saturday at 2 p.m. against Villanova Wildcats. For more on this matchup, here is our producer, Jamie Smith.
This week's Explorer Report, we're taking a look at the men's soccer team opening game against Villanova this Sunday. Their last matchup was in the fall of 2019 where the Blue and Gold fell to Villanova in a tough 2-1 loss. LaSalle has a history of coming up short when it comes to competing against Villanova. However, with 12 new additions to the team, this match could be the end of the losing streak. Junior forward Nigel Buckley could be the standout star we're looking for in this match. Back in 2019, he dominated the field, racking up 5 goals and 1 assist for the Explorers and being named Philadelphia's Soccer 6 Player of the Week back in September of that year. Sophomore defender Frank Gamis-Quer will also be returning after earning multiple honors in his rookie season. Redshirt junior Mitch Foster and freshman Cam Hall are the newest additions to the powerhouse team of goaltenders representing the Blue and Gold, joining junior Brett Werner and sophomore Carlos Mora. 8 of LaSalle's 9 top goal scorers will return back in action for this upcoming season, and we hope with a mix of young and old talent, the Explorers will make a comeback against Villanova. Sending it back to you guys at the desk.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Thank you, Jamie, for that. And just to kind of talk about this, it's very exciting, of course, to get the field back to play. And when we look at that from top to bottom, it's going to be led by the goalkeepers. I mean, when we looked at it last year, Brett Werner and Carlos Mora were the 2 goaltenders that were kind of bouncing back and forth throughout the season. Who's going to take that next leap? And is it going to be the freshman that Mitch Foster was talking about?
Exactly, and it doesn't need to be said, I'm very excited for soccer season. It's going to be great, but the defense is really what's going to put the Explorers ahead because they say offense wins you games, defense wins you titles. And with the 11 new freshmen coming in, along with that, the 4, roster of goalkeepers, LaSalle's defense is looking pretty solid, so that's going to really put them at an advantage this season.
Exactly. So defensively, just holding it down right back there. Jamie talked a good amount about the freshmen, but it also comes to an offensive perspective when you look at Nigel Buckley. You need someone behind him that's actually going to be scoring goals. He had finished with 9 goals in the season last year, back in 2019, so we'll see how much the cap has affected this whole team and who's going to step up throughout the practices, but they just need the depth on the front line to be able to help.
Exactly, and they have so many of their top goal scorers returning, and that's the great thing about this LaSalle team. They have a great offense, they have a great defense, and they also have that really strong midfield that provides that much-needed creativity that's going to set them apart. It's going to, be able to not just have to rely on their defense. It's going to be able to feed the offense, get those goals, and, it's really all coming together like a well-oiled machine.
I can't wait, and it's just going to come down to all together with all these spring sports coming ahead of us. It all comes down to senior leadership and it comes down to coaching staffs.
Yes.
And the fact of the matter being, whoever is the most experienced there, I mean, just to kind of go off topic here, back to college basketball, you've seen it top to bottom from the teams that play nationally to the teams that play in some of the lower conferences. It's the older teams that have been able to flourish, and you're going to see that especially this season in the spring, especially for fall sports that are playing in the spring now.
Exactly, but LaSalle has no shortage of, that senior leadership. We have no shortage of experience, and we have a really good mix of underclassmen, upperclassmen. So again, that's going to be the big advantage, and I think that's really what we're going to be talking about once the spring season gets underway.
And when it gets underway, we'll finally get to the moment of truth here, our picks for the night. So for my pick, I'm going to go 3-2. LaSalle is going to take the home victory and upset the City 5 rival of Villanova.
I'm saying that LaSalle is going to win 2-0. I think that defense is going to get a shutout, and we also are going to get an upset for our City 5 rival.
And now let's send it to Jamie's pick.
New additions on the team, the Explorers are going to come out on top in this game, winning 2-1.
So it looks like it's a LaSalle split, or sweep, I should say.
Let's hope so. But that just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of the Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV and on Twitter and Instagram at SportsLineLTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions there. This week's poll is, what's a better send-off, sincerely or best regards? Now, I'm best regards, gang. So I don't know about
Sincerely,
anyone else.
all the way. But for Isaiah and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Tyler Small. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at the game.